Hi and welcome to Friday at 11. I'm Joy, known as Pink Oddballs. Do you want to all introduce yourselves?
Hi, shall I start? I'm Penny Carr from Being Mrs. C.
I'm Ali from Bugbird and Bee.
I'm Helen from kiddycharts.com. Hello everybody.
I'm Joanne and I write at kidsdaysoutReviews.co.uk.
And I'm Mari, who I write at marisworld.co.uk.
Today we're going to talk about what's changed. So in Back to the Future 2 they came to the future, which was 2015, 21st of October actually, and so we're going to talk about things that are different from when we were younger and what we can remember that's changed. I went to a junior school visit and discovered that they now have changing rooms. I mean, they didn't have changing rooms when I was a kid. You used to go change in the classroom. So anybody else got anything they know that's changed?
Everything. Everything's changed. Seriously, it feels like it. If I look back to my childhood and compare it to my kids now, so much is different. You know, the things like even just having CBeebies all day, whereas we used to live for that bit about 3:30 in the afternoon where you came home from school and you were able to put on children's BBC and you got Philip Schofield in the broom cupboard. That's changed.
No more broom cupboards.
No more Top of the Pops. That's gone.
No, not totally. Not totally. There was a Christmas Top of the Pops, and the only reason I know this, I didn't watch it, was because at a school governors meeting, Deputy Head wasn't there, and the reason she wasn't there is she got tickets to the live recording.
Oh my God!
So I can't mean to watch it to see if I could spot her, but you know.
I used to really look forward to it once a week, and I did. At the time, for example, I had a tape recorder with cassettes. They're gone, and I used to sit in front of the television and tell my brothers just to be absolutely dead quiet, and I'd record the whole of the show and then play it back through the week.
But also, Sunday evening, the top 40 on Radio 1 as well, you used to have to record that on cassette, and if you were feeling brave, you used to try and stop it and restart it, so you cut out all of whoever was talking in between the songs. Do you remember that?
No, I used to do that. Yeah, well, I have. You know, you talking the cassette players. My dad had one of those big reel-to-reel things. They're the massive kind of tape things, and I used to have one, and I used to record the top 40. And then we used to cut all of the talking out. We used to record it on that because it took 3 hours, and so did the top 40. Then we cut all the talking out and put them on tape deck things. Yeah. You don't have to do that now because you can stream anything you want from wherever you are.
Yeah, talking of music, of course, and I really miss the old vinyl records. Yeah. That used to be such a thrill to save your pocket money up and go down to the shop and buy the vinyl. And if you got like a weird coloured one, like a pink one or a purple one, you were really cool.
But what was the first record you all bought then on vinyl? Come on, let's be honest.
Oh my God, Donny Osmond!
Black Lace, Party album.
I bet no one has ever heard of the record that I first bought on vinyl. It's a little 7-inch single, and it was Owen Paul, You're My Favourite Waste of Time. You're like, You're my... Do you remember that? No, you don't.
I don't know, it might be mine though. I don't know if anyone remembers this. I think it was going live at the time on Children's BBC, or it might have been something before that. Claire and Friends, and it's Horrible Being Loving Right Now.
Oh, yes.
I was about 8.5 when that.
I was 8.5, yeah.
I was 7.5.
I was older.
I think I probably was as well, Mary.
But that was my first vinyl single, and I remember looking up on Google the other day to work out what had happened to her.
What did happen to her?
She's an Irish dancing teacher in Manchester now, apparently.
Manchester, you ought to tell Laura.
I don't remember my first album, but I've still got like I've got Stone Roses on vinyl, Beastie Boys on vinyl, Def Leppard, and I've got loads of singles, lots of dance singles. But yeah, and for a short while you could get singles, couldn't you? Just a couple of songs, and they were like a couple of quid.
revs per minute, 45 revs per minute, weren't they?
Yeah.
So
And
I just know
outdoors
you
for 33 and a third.
play them at the wrong speed.
Yeah.
Of
Of
You know,
course,
and there were
everybody's.
supposed to be messages in them if you played them at the wrong speed or something ridiculous, weren't there? The back end of the records, it'd be like, oh, and then she'd be like, no, that's just not true.
My friend used to put her hamster on the record player. Watch it go flying off across the room.
Oh.
I used to do it with toys.
Yeah, they used to put little cars. You could get a little bus, couldn't you? That used to go around and it used to play the songs it was going around. Do you remember? It's like a little camper van. You put it on top of the record, and it goes around and it plays a song as the car goes around on top of the record.
Don't.
Sounds very posh.
Didn't they used to have like kids' toys that were record players, and you had these brightly coloured discs that you and they'd play like ridiculous songs like Bar Bar Black Sheep or something. I
had a
always
Smurf.
those.
That was Fisher Price, Helen, because they did this one, and it actually worked on the same principle. So that the plastic coloured discs had bits on them, so the needle picked up the tracks, and they've reissued them last Christmas, but they're not the same. They don't play in the old-fashioned way. They've digitised it all.
Oh no!
Because they were selling them online, and I looked into getting the kids one, but when you read all the reviews, it was loads of grown-ups saying, "It's not how it used to be when I was little," and I think they should have just done it the same way. But
You used to be able to get those little televisions as well that used to go around the.
yeah, the loop.
Yeah.
But out of interest, how many of you have actually got what I would call a proper record player still in your home?
No, I would like one because I got lots of vinyl, and we were having a conversation the other week. Actually, I can't remember where. I think it was on Facebook about getting a record player because I got loads of dance stuff, and
You can
it's
get
just
one
to be able
with a
to.
USB cable.
Yeah.
You can do it as a line into your computer nowadays.
All right.
Because my mum's just moved house, and she was clearing out her garage, and she's found a whole box full of vinyl, which includes things like original Tubular Bells on vinyl, but also loads of kids stuff, like kids' nursery rhymes done by various famous orchestras and stuff like that. So we were looking into it for her, and you can get them, as I say, with just a USB cable needed, so you can plug it straight in and do a line in and download software to import it.
Just to be nice to show the kids what we.
But vinyl's making a comeback. There was a huge thing on, I think it was
saw that.
music about it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that somebody in London has found one of the machines that they used to use to make the vinyl records, and he's completely renovated it and is now selling perfect vinyl records online. It was quite interesting, actually.
there's a record shop here in St Albans which only opened within the last year or two that just sells vinyl.
Wow. I'd love that shop.
We even have one up in Yorkshire, in my little market town where I live. So
Yorkshire's still on
if it's
vinyl,
reached
though,
this
isn't
far,
it?
it must be making a comeback.
Yorkshire's still on vinyl, isn't it, though?
Do you mind? Actually,
All right.
I was going to say I didn't actually. When I was younger, I didn't have a lot. We had a lot of vinyl at home, but I don't remember buying vinyl because by the time I sort of got to that age, sort of like maybe 11 or 12, it was just all cassettes. And I've still got now 12 and now 13 on double cassette, which my 10-year-old thinks is hilarious. And I'm a big buyer of CDs. I love CDs because I've lost my iPod that I got for Christmas. I've no idea where I've put it. So just being able to go and just get a CD and put it on is just much better, I think. And I like seeing it all. There.
The album covers, album artwork.
Did you have one of those, what was it, the Sony Walkman that you put your cassette in?
No,
I
never had a Walkman. We couldn't afford Walkmans. When I got to sort of about 15, 16, started earning my own money, I remember getting a CD one.
Okay.
And I was gutted because as I walked with it, it jumped. I didn't realise that you had to buy like a special one for not jumping. And I just bought a cheap one, and it was just like.
But I've got downstairs a pile of old Walkmans because it turns out my dad never binned anything. So when my mum cleared out the house, she's found all this stuff. So I've got it all to sell on eBay because the other thing he had was blank cassette tapes still in the cellophane wrapping.
Wow.
And I was going to bin them all, but I had a quick look on eBay and they were like, oh, they're selling. So I listed all these on eBay and I probably made my mum nearly 200 quid selling old cassette tapes. all in the cellophane wrapping still, and people would buy. I had to post them to Poland, Russia, Italy, Denmark, places like this. They're really hot property, and it turns out people collect them, and they collect a certain manufacturer and try and get every cassette that that manufacturer ever produced. Bonkers.
Wow. That's just mind-boggling.
Absolutely.
Completely bonkers. So all this stuff that was my dad's, we're now selling, and some of it's worth quite a lot of money, which is just bonkers.
But
Do you
that's
remember
what
We have some water. Well,
Do you remember these? Floppy
Yeah.
disk.
oh yeah.
Oh, yeah, I've still got mine. My dissertation's on a floppy disk.
I've got a whole box of them.
I've got a lot more than that.
There's probably a blog post in using them as drinks coasters, isn't there?
I'm going to make a little storage thing, I think.
There's definitely an upcycling blog post there somewhere.
Yeah.
And do you remember before the Walkman? It must have been before we cared about other people. The great big ghetto blasters.
Oh,
yeah.
yes.
It doesn't
Oh, you know that.
care if you want to hear the music or not. We're just blasting it out. You know,
Yeah.
and that, people look at you funny if you listen to your music without headphones. They're like,
There used to be a kid who used to go around with one, and used to have a piece of cardboard he used to carry around with him as well. And they used to go up on the green and put this piece of cardboard on in the ghetto blaster so people could watch him dance. Yeah, remember those days.
It was the break dancing days, wasn't it? All the
Yeah.
girls in the playground were break dancing, spinning on their backs.
I wasn't allowed to do that.
I'd never bothered trying.
I was going to say, even if you were allowed to do it, Joy, would you have been able to do it?
Yeah, I was about 7. I reckon I'd give it a good go.
Do the caterpillar.
Yeah.
Well, the caterpillar made it into Strictly this year, didn't it?
It did, that's true.
Strictly final, there was someone doing a caterpillar.
Oh, yes.
I don't think Les Goodman approved, but someone was doing it. But what were the trend? What were your playground fads and trends then? Because I can remember, I don't know if anyone else does. There was a while where you got these yo-yos, which were all Coca-Cola branded. But you could get Coke, Diet Coke, Sprite, and these yo-yos were this massive fad in our school playground, and everyone had to have a yo-yo, and there had to be these Coca-Cola branded ones. And I've no idea where we got them from because we didn't drink Coke, so I don't think they were freebies or anything.
What used to happen was the Coca-Cola brand people used to come. They weren't allowed on the schools whenever I was in the schools, but I always used to come to the shop at the end of the street, at 3:30, and all the kids used to go, and I used to get the free yo-yos off him, and used to trade them and things like that. And it was a massive push by Coca-Cola in those days to get all these yo-yos into playgrounds, and that's it. Yeah. So if you didn't drink it, that was probably where you got them from, or maybe swapped them for something with your friends or whatever. Yeah.
We certainly didn't drink it, but I remember everyone trying to learn to do all the tricks and stuff like that, and they were really good yo-yos actually. Really
I haven't found a yo-yo that's as good as what they were in those days for my own children.
I might have to go on eBay now and have a look.
And you're trying to teach them tricks like walking the dog under cradle and stuff, and they're like, you can't do it, and they look at you no, you're just lying, Mum, you couldn't do all that. And you're like, yeah, I could, I was a master, but
Yeah, my husband's friends are quite geeky, and he's got some really expensive yo-yos, and they're really impressive, but they're like, I was like, oh, I want one. My husband was like, no, you don't. You want to see the price of them?
One of the games I remember playing in the playground was having a stack of cards, and you'd throw them against the wall, and you'd be playing against someone, and if your card went on somebody else's, you won those cards. Anyone remember that? No. God.
I do remember. We used to play with stones in my day. We didn't have anything fancy like yo-yos and cards, for God's sake. We had a stack of stones, that we piled up, different sizes, and then you get a little one, and then you throw it. And that's what we did to knock them down. A bit like bowling, but slightly different. And we had a spate of doing that all summer and doing nothing else. A bit like loom bands this summer, which have now completely disappeared, but with stones, obviously. So we couldn't afford loom bands.
Do you think loom bands have gone then?
I do. They've gone from our house, definitely. There was a huge craze, and we had every colour under the sun and a massive box, all compartmentalised, and they don't look at it anymore.
Mine are stuck with hammer beads. Yeah, loom bands is definitely a phase. I even went out and got the proper one for Caitlin's birthday, and she's only used it once. But they go back to the hammer beads. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, loom bands, we've got hundreds of them now. I'm trying to do them myself now, just to get rid of the damn things.
I ended up doing more than they did. Yeah. Did you ever never used to play marbles then?
Marbles.
Yeah, we did marbles. Marlies. Game of Marlies.
Someone from my knitting group was telling me this last week, that she wanted some marbles for something, probably some craft project she was doing, and she went to the local toy shop to be told that they'd completely sold out because there was a rush on marbles this Christmas, which was news to me.
Back in the day, I don't think there was a marble run. You know, marbles were literally played on the floor, weren't they? And if you hit somebody else, you won it. Whereas I know that my girls have really enjoyed the marble run, and although they've grown out of it, it's still one of those toys that they won't let me throw away because, oh no, we really like that, and don't throw that away or give it away.
Ours comes out loads to be played with.
Yeah, I'm thinking of getting one for the twins' birthday in a couple of weeks. So what age would you say marble run's good for then?
Oh, they love it. I got it, I think, for the girls about 2, and now they're 6, going on 7, and they still enjoy it.
Oh, mine are going to be 4, so
2 at the moment, and he plays with it loads, and my daughter's 4.5, and she plays with it loads as well.
Yeah, I got a marble run for my son when he was 3, and he only started not paying attention to it when he was about 6. So it lasts a while.
But get a plastic one that clips together, because I reviewed a wooden one and that was useless because it never stayed in place and the kids weren't delicate enough to keep it in place because it just nudged out of place. So go for one that clicks together.
Okay, thank you.
Going back to what we used to do, so I'm saying now, we didn't have marble runs, but my brother and I, when I was a kid, we made like assault courses for marbles out of our wooden bricks. You know, we have these little long thin ones that we use as a bat, and then we try and, you know, hit it through the obstacle course to get it to the end. My kids have still got the bricks, so they're using the marble run in combination with the bricks, and they've got this like massive assault course set up, which is fantastic. So they're bringing in what I used to use with what, you know, we've got now, which is just, you know, they're so lucky.
Yeah, but Helen, don't you think that was really good, because it did sort of encourage you and your brother to think of something creative to play, whereas now the kids just are given a toy and they get on with that, and there's no sort of forward thinking anymore.
And I do think that's right, actually. I do find that we've kept quite a lot of our toys. You know, we've got a lot of old board games and all that kind of stuff, and some of the old things like the bricks and some of my husband's Lego and stuff. And I do find that my kids tend to combine quite a lot of the modern stuff with some of the more creative, imaginative things like the building blocks and like the standard Lego that, you know, they do now. That's fantastic. You can still get boxes of bricks and stuff. And they seem to combine them together so that they can then make, you know, their own world with their own imagination. And it's brilliant watching them do it. It's fantastic. And like you say, it encourages so much more creativity.
So what we used to do, and this might be one for Joy actually, is we used to get some of my mum's thread out of a sewing box and take it from the top window to the bottom to the tree at the bottom of the garden, build little Lego cars, put a little double wheel thing on top of them, put them on top of it and just let it go. And it used to just go for ages and just explode on a tree at the bottom, and it was amazing. And there must be about £400 worth of Lego at the bottom of Mum and Dad's garden, just like buried, like 2 foot deep. But we should spend just all summer just throwing these Lego cars out the top and watching them, see who can make the best explosion at the bottom.
Some archaeologists in years to come can be really confused by that, aren't they? But did any of you watch over Christmas the James May Toy Stories where he did Action Man? No one see that? Well, I don't know if you've seen past series where he basically takes a toy and tries to do something amazing with it. So he's made a Lego house before, like a proper house out of Lego. He's built a proper bridge out of Meccano before and stuff. But this time what he did was he did Action Man, and he was trying to get Action Man to go faster than the speed of sound. So what he did was they built a rocket and put Action Man in this rocket and sent it up, and then it had to explode like an ejector seat type thing and bring Action Man parachuting down on his proper original parachute. But while they were like researching the series, obviously they go out and try and find subject matter experts. So some subject matter experts had heard what James May was trying to do, so these rocket experts, and they set up their own version, which was going to be Supersonic Cindy. So they took a Cindy doll and tried to beat him to get the record by sending a Cindy doll up. And they did the Cindy doll one first, but then they didn't find Cindy, and the record said you had to recover and recover the doll afterwards. So then he did Action Man, and he got the record. But like 3 hours after he broke the record, the team had been still looking for Cindy, like weeks later, and they found Cindy. But it'll probably be on iPlayer still. I think it was on Christmas Eve or something. But it's well worth a watch if you like old toys and that, and it's quite funny.
I saw the brick house one, James May brick house, the Lego brick house one. It's brilliant. You know, toilets and beds and everything out of Lego. It's just unbelievable. My son would be totally in heaven in that house. Completely impractical, obviously, but that doesn't matter.
And I think the estate agent came around and valued the house, didn't he? And he said there was actually more value in the actual bricks rather than the house itself, because the house was completely unmortgageable. Yeah, there was maybe something like £200,000 worth of bricks or something in this house, which is mental. We had
a leaking roof this week. God knows what would have happened to the Lego house in the storms we've had this week. I dread to think.
Has it been really bad with you then? Because I think we've come out of it quite unscathed, actually.
It's not been brilliant, but apparently it's not been strong enough for the insurance to be able to help.
Really?
But we've got a leak in the roof, and I phoned them and they said something ridiculous, like there had to be 45 miles per hour winds and ours were only 38 or something. So it doesn't qualify. It's not been windy enough.
How can they tell though that wasn't some big gust or some freak just shot up?
I have no idea, but they use like weather stuff, and it's all, and you've got to have rules. I understand that completely. It's kind of just a bit frustrating when you've got a soggy loft to deal with. That's all, but that's not really relevant, clearly. So I apologise. I've gone off on a tangent as always.
Right. Well, if we're talking back to the future, we ought to be thinking about ways of putting that straight in 30 years' time.
Well, that's true. There must be some sort of, maybe they could send a hoverboard person up there. Hoverboard to fix my roof.
See? We're coming up with the ideas.
That's true.
See, me, I'd just be happy with the handprint entries to doors. That would just solve a lot of our problems at this house, I think. If we could have, from Back to the Future, if we could have those handprint door entries, that'd be good.
Well, the ones where you put your hand on the screen and then
and the door opens. Yeah.
By number,
reaching fingerprints and stuff.
They had one of those in Annie, the film Annie. Has anyone seen that?
No.
Not the new one, no.
No. Oh, it's very good, because that was back in the day as well, wasn't it? The original Annie.
That must have been.
I saw that for my 7th birthday. It was my first movie I went to saw at the cinema.
So have you seen the new one, Ali?
No.
Oh, it's good. I think you'll enjoy it. I enjoyed it.
1982 was the original Annie film.
Thank you.
So has anyone seen Paddington?
No.
Yes.
Talking of old films.
Loved it.
You loved it?
I did, yeah, I did.
I thought it was brilliant, but my son he's scared again, so we had a night of nightmares. He didn't like the nasty lady in it, which is fair enough. He's 7, but he is quite, delicate with stuff like that. But I personally still thought it was fantastic, and most children would be fine with it.
Is it what is it? It's CGI or cartoon? What is it? What format?
It's CGI. And it's brilliantly CGI'd as well. You really just phenomenally, the acting alongside the CGI bear and everything is just really, really good. And there's some fantastic names in it as well. You know, like Hugh Bonneville's in it, and Julie Walters, and people like that. The kid, you know, people you remember from.
Isn't it Nicole Kidman who's the bad lady?
Yeah, she is.
I thought so. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was reading about the Oscar nominations this morning, and someone was pointing out that the Lego Movie didn't get nominated in the animation category, which actually quite surprised me because that was a huge film, wasn't it?
It was the film of the year, wasn't it?
Did you see that they've released the Lego Movie released a video as a backlash to that?
No, I haven't.
No, go and watch it.
I think I must be the only person in the world not to actually like the Lego Movie.
Oh,
No, didn't like it. I just
I
don't know. I really like Paddington, like so I went to see that last week.
What didn't you like about the Lego Movie?
I don't know. I just thought it was too quick. The dialogue was sort of too snappy. There was no sort of flow to it really. It was just kind of very jagged and put together. And before you knew it, it was over, and it was like, oh, okay. And I just wondered why. Sort of, I don't know. A lot of people raved about it, and I just didn't get it.
See, really? I thought it was very dark, and we've not actually let our daughter watch it because we think she'll be scared by it, which is a bit weird because it's only a U rating, yet Frozen is a PG rating, and she watches that all the time and is fine with it. So I'm a bit confused as to how you can have that difference in ratings.
Yeah,
I'm guessing that. Sorry, a lot of the peril in the Lego Movie is because it's animated kind of people, that they're Lego toys rather than animated characters that are human. Maybe that, and I know it's not a massive difference because they're both animations, but maybe that's it, because the animation within Frozen is more lifelike rather than this is an animated piece of Lego. That I don't know.
I don't know what the answer is.
But the outtakes on the Lego Movie when we bought the film as well has got, I know it's just pathetic, but it's got stuff like poo-poos and, I know, sort of language that actually I would have preferred to have some sort of say, you know, before my child just watched it, so.
I don't know. As I say, we've not let her watch it yet. She says she wants to, but we just thought it was a bit too dark for her and maybe a bit scary. But, well, we'll see.
No, I've had that with, you know, people. Harry Potter, I can't remember the first one. Is it a PG, the first one? My kids wouldn't watch that. They wouldn't be happy with it. And a lot of their friends at school have seen it, so it's quite difficult because, you know, they say, well, I want to watch it. And I thought, well.
Yeah, see, my youngest, she's 7 this year, and she's watched a lot of the Harry Potter the last couple of years, but I don't know whether it's because she's grown up watching it with them. I couldn't really. I know the older ones, like from Goblet of Fire and onwards, she hasn't seen because they are like 12s or something. But yeah, she's not really bothered with them. Never scared. I know I think she watched Goblet of Fire once, and she was a bit scared of the Dementors or something. And yeah, but all kids are different, aren't they?
I'm going to say something really controversial, which is I actually got bored reading Harry Potter, and I've never read them all.
I at some point I will read them. I think I have watched all the films many times. I've watched them even before before Kieran was able to watch them, because I watched them with my nephews when I used to look after them. But I think the kids read them all because we got them.
So I read them all when I was breastfeeding. So I just have a book in hand, baby in the other. Basically, I just read all 7. I haven't actually seen all the films at all.
Right.
I just, I've never got round to it, and I probably will do, but maybe when the kids are older and they're okay to watch some of the.
Yeah.
They're quite dark, aren't they?
Yeah, the later ones are definitely much darker.
Now the book's not dark. Thinking about this because my 7-year-old's currently reading them.
The books are quite dark. I mean, my 7-year-old's on to Chamber of Secrets now, which I think is probably actually, from the film, is probably the scariest one for little ones. Chamber of Secrets will kind of get a little bit more storyfied after that, I think, whereas Chamber of Secrets is just like a bit of a bloodfest.
Well, the idea was that kids grew up with the characters, wasn't it? So kids started reading them when they were about the same age as the three of them going off to school, and then by the time, you know, and they kind of became almost teenage novels as it went on. That was, you know, J.K. Rowling's aim, I guess. Whereas now, of course, kids are kind of reading one and wanting to read the next one straight away, whereas before they'd almost have people had to wait for her to write the next one.
Yeah, so whereas I think that if you look at a book like Philosopher's Stone, the first one, I think that's not challenging enough for your average 11-year-old now anyway. So I think they're all starting them a lot earlier. I mean, my 7-year-old, she finished Philosopher's Stone last year, and now she's on Chamber of Secrets. She nearly finished that. She's going to be Azkaban, and in Azkaban, I think Harry Potter's about 13, whereas she's 7. So the themes are a little bit too adult, I think, going into it, but the reading isn't challenging enough for her yet.
Yeah, I think you're right.
But she reads them anyway and enjoys them anyway. So, and
they're
getting kids reading, which is important, isn't it? So, you know, either way, you can't really mock it.
That is a big difference for me. What I remember, I don't know if it's because we've got more computer games or whatever it is now, but we used to just read. We would read and read and read, and now it's like having to find. I know not all kids are, but having to find something that's interesting enough for the kids, and it's like, oh, has anyone got a book they can recommend? Where it was never that. You just read. It just.
I don't know, because yesterday I was reading the technology section on BBC News, and the ZX Spectrum is being relaunched in April, and that's what we had when we were growing up. We had a ZX Spectrum. We used to play all the games, everything. Actually, when I posted it on Facebook, a lot of people said, "Oh yeah, I remember that. We had the such and such games." But I used to read as well. And
well, you had to read while the games were loading off cassette tape.
Yeah, because it took forever, didn't they? But yeah, I think it was the same balance as what my kids got now. When we go out to the fields and the countryside and everything, and then they come home, they play on the DS and everything. They had a PS3 for Christmas from their dad, but I've already said to them, look, you're only going to play on a couple of hours a day over the weekends. They're not allowed to play it during the week, and then we're going to do other stuff. But you know, they're not allowed to play on for a long time. So I think it's the parents controlling, making sure that they do other things. Because Caitlin's reading through all Roald Dahl books at the moment. She read all the David Walliams ones over Christmas, and then yesterday after school she read 3 of them. So yeah, I think, you know, if you sort of like say, right, lay down some rules, yeah, they do get balance, I think.
Right then, I think we could carry on talking about all this for ages, couldn't we? We need to wrap it up. Are we gonna just say goodbye, or does anyone want to talk about what they've got planned or anything, or we're just off?
I think we'll just say goodbye.
Just say goodbye.
We're expecting snow. We're expecting snow. Yes.
See, I could murder my daughter's class teacher today because she sent them all home yesterday telling them it was going to snow overnight. I don't know where she got that from.
Oh no.
Yeah, we're going to go off and buy sleds tomorrow. Because I was going to do it last weekend, and then I said no, we'll definitely do it this weekend because it's getting colder and colder. And I think at one point we are actually going to have a snow day, so we're going to go off and buy sleds tomorrow.
Excellent. Have a great time.
Yes.
Everybody enjoy themselves. I suggest we say bye-bye to everyone. Bye!